Happy Halloween, one and all, and welcome to another video about a topic that only I care about. Today we're talking about mascot horror games, and don't click off. This isn't another the genre's oversaturated video. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. I am going back through the history of the mascot horror genre, and I am adding an entire franchise. But in order to do that, we have to understand a couple key things about the history of this horror genre. For the sake of making my history background make sense, I'm going to be splitting it into two branches that converge into one, as seen on this chart that hopefully I add. We're going to be starting with branch 1, then going through the connected branch, and then we're going to go back to see where the connection it makes sense, because I do think there's something missing here, and the second branch solves that. So first, we have to go to what most people consider to be the beginning, but by the end of the video, what you will think isn't actually the beginning. Five Nights at Freddy's and its many fan games are what's commonly cited as the genesis of the mascot horror genre. And the reason for that's pretty simple. It is a horror game that is kind of only really known for its characters. Hey, don't get me wrong. The gameplay is fun. Of course it is. The game wouldn't exist if the gameplay wasn't kind of fun. But it's not the same without the aesthetic vibe of the game. You know, eventually this franchise grew to be more plot driven as time went on, which would come to be very important in the next game that I'm gonna talk about. But up to a certain point, it was just the gameplay and the mascots, so that's kind of where it all started. So we're just gonna move on to the next big jump in mascot horror. I hate to say it, but Bendy and the Ink Machine is what I would consider the next big jump in mascot horror. I honestly really used to like this game. I bought every chapter, a bunch of merch. I have the Bendy and Alice Funko Pops. I don't fuck with Funko Pops, and I have them. But ultimately, I was kind of by chapter 5. I just felt like it didn't end the game correctly. But this video is not about that. This game fits into the mascot horror genre because it kept the fun mascots and is a horror game still. But something very important about it changed. It is a 3D free-roaming game. Very similar to BioShock, some would say. Bendy also introduced a crucial part of the genre. It was kind of started by FNAF, but Bendy more or less solved it and is standard now in every following game or franchise. Instead of having a different game every few months that adds to the franchise and the plot, you just have one game and you update it every few months and just charge money for each update. I do think Bendy did it fine because overall it led to a big cohesive game that more or less felt similar as the chapters went on. They went back and updated chapters to fit the gameplay style and aesthetic of the future chapters as they got better, so it's fine. But the next big franchise is way more controversial with it, so we're going to talk about it more now.
Have a little left.
Okay. Is this chocolate milk?
Yeah.
The next and technically last game chronologically in the genre is known for its evolution of the easily merchandisable, child-friendly mascots and the chapter structure that allows them to easily publish a barely video game and then just update it later on so you can get easy views and quick uploads and success to market your toys that you made before the game even uploaded. Hobby Playtime is the biggest influence in modern mascot horror. It takes everything that the last two franchises were known for and optimizes it for the most profitability with the least effort. In all fairness, that was the first chapter. Each chapter is getting progressively better, and they're becoming like real games. And there's a little bit of respect there for the like Poppy devs, but some of the shit that they did just doesn't sit right with me. But it's not just here because it's big and I have to talk about it. It's not just here because it turned all the good things from the last few franchises and optimized it for profit. I'm here to talk about it because it brought something very important and crucial to the forefront that has been very important in following games in the franchise that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but here they are. This game has a lot of puzzle solving aspects that are built around a core gimmick or mechanic or item, which is where the secret game comes in. When you look at this timeline, Bendy evolved into Poppy, sure, but how are they in the same genre as Five Nights at Freddy's? Like, I get they're mascot horror games, but this is a point-and-click adventure. This is a video game, is what I would say if there wasn't a precedent for two different types of game to be put in the same genre because of similar characteristics. I'm stretching a lot here, but just go with me on this. All that we're missing is a game with a free roaming puzzle mechanic that has a mascot maybe, but you know, the mascot wasn't as mainstream, so that Five Nights at Freddy's could come in and be like, oh, what if we just merge these two and then we get Bendy and Poppy from there? So like a puzzle game with a core gimmick, kind of horror-ish. I think I've played that, and you probably have too.
And carrots are actually bad for you?
What?
It's true, I read it in a magazine.
Carrots are good for you.
Mm-mm.
You're an idiot.
Anyway, I think I just want a big green leaf.
A big green.
Portal is a game that centers around a core puzzle-solving gimmick with a big focus on how it drives the plot, involving an ending where you break out of your laboratory testing area to go behind the scenes and end up fighting the big evil boss lady who's kind of scary-ish, you know, in like a more like realistic AI way. That's not important. This franchise also spawned a lot of merchandise. And, I mean, if you want to stretch it, you could say that it released multiple games to continue its story, but that would require them to make games. But there are a lot of fan games, most of which are really good, some of which are better than the main game. Hot take. I love Portal, but some of these fan games are really good. So now, if we include Portal, that is the 3D free-roaming puzzle-solving gimmick mixed with Mascot, which combine into Bendy and the Ink Machine, which has some puzzles, but is, you know, free-roaming, mascot horror, kind of gimmicky. And then that evolves into Poppy Playtime, which really takes the Portal gun and turns them into, like, sticky hands that, like, grab on the shit. So now that we have the beginning of this genre, Portal, FNAF, and Portal, we can come up with, like, a new genre, like how Castlevania and Metroid become Metroidvanias. We could call it Five Nights at Portals. No. We'll just call it FNAF and Portal. Or FAP for short. Wait. I think that fits too well. Thank you guys for watching. This was a video basically about nothing. Nothing really important happened, but I've wanted to talk about it for a while, and I thought, YouTubers make Halloween videos, so why don't I make a Halloween video? But it is fun to find a way to correlate maybe my favorite franchise, like video game franchise ever, with one of actually the most important genre of video games that I've ever interacted with in my life. If you like this video, subscribe. I try to do more general pop culture stuff. Esports, like I said in the last video, is kind of a big deal for me right now, and I'm working on more videos about it. Maybe even some shorts if we get crazy. I'm actually working on a video about esports TV shows and why I don't think they're as well, like, successful or popular as they really should be. All right, see you then. Goodbye.